Welcome everybody to another episode of Circle of the Earth Fellowship. We've been gone for a couple weeks, but we're back at it, and we got a new lineup for y'all. So I hope y'all are excited. But before we get into our topic for tonight, let's go ahead and say hello to everyone that, is on the panel, and then we'll do a little housekeeping and get into it. So thank you for all the new subscribers. We're up to 210. We were we were up to 1212, but after I made that little comedy bit about the Trump thing, people did not like that, and two of them walked away. So sorry if I offended you. I was just poking fun at something to me seemed obviously made up in production. If you feel like he was really shot, I didn't mean to offend you. But I guess we'll see what kind of storm comes from that in just the world in general. So, anyways, let's go ahead and say hello to everyone. We got Maggie back with us. We haven't had her in a while. Good to see you, sister. Shalom. How you doing?
Good to be back.
Well, it's good to have you back. So, are you excited to tie? So, what's really interesting about you being here is what you and your family does is a solution to just the problem that we're going to be talking tonight. So, yeah, that's it's pretty awesome that you're here. So, welcome, sister.
So
Good to
take
see
it over,
you.
Maggie.
And so let's say hello to our sister Marcia. Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, sister.
Hi, everyone. GMO, who can't talk about that, huh?
Yep.
So
Pretty easy nowadays, isn't it? Yeah, with all the bioengineering and all the it's in every food almost.
oh, it's in your candy bars. You'll say it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's jump over to Robert. Good to see you, brother. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom or Shalom, um, everyone. Yeah, you got the GMO, you got all that, but there's also the soy that's
yeah.
put into everything.
Soy boy. Yeah,
Soy boy,
and you could almost say
gotta
that's
get
those are
gotta get the moves.
yeah, and that's bioengineered stuff, right? So there's genetically modified organisms. That's one thing that they put in our food. And then a whole nother thing is bioengineered food, right? So even most of the wheat products are bioengineered because they take out the everything that's good and then they synthetically add the things back. So it's everywhere, but there's definitely ways around that. But let's jump over to our brother Kyle. Good to see you, man. You got to spend 4th of July with me and my family and our friends. We got Tyler Porter came. He came shooting with us too. So that was
Oh,
awesome.
fun.
And so good to see you again since I last saw you.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago, only a week. So
Yeah.
yeah, this is a great topic. It's almost not a conspiracy anymore. People are just accepting it, and they're are trying to be more cognizant about how they shop and what they consume, what they put in their bodies, because as we know,
Whoa. Okay. Oh, did we freeze?
You froze to me.
yeah, you're frozen, Miss Marcia.
Oh,
There you go.
You're back.
I'm frozen.
You were, but
Oh.
not anymore. Anyways.
Wait.
But yeah, you're right. Like it's almost been. It was such a conspiracy that when it came true, they didn't say, "Oh my gosh, the conspiracy that they've been talking about came true." What it shifted to was whether it was like kind of like a moral decision because it was like these things are like the conspiracy now, which was back then too, is that there is nefarious reasons why these things are in our food. It's not just to cut costs. It's not just to make things better. The conspiracy is that they're purposely making it worse, and that's obvious.
I agree.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, last but not least, we got our brother Frankie B. Shabbat Shalom, brother. Good to see you.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Yeah, my landscaper told me they put aluminum in our deodorant.
Yep.
Which into your body.
That's been forever.
too, yeah.
forever.
And you're putting it right on your lymph nodes.
So I tell my wife, like, so
I don't.
ever since I had the shingles, I do not put deodorant on anymore. And so, my wife may suffer now and then, when it gets a little too hot or a little too sweaty. But yeah, just like I'm like, you like it. Come on, you like my must. You have to, because that's what you're getting.
I've seen a lot of people that are using coconut butter for a lot of things. You might want to try that. It might just cut the smell.
There are some other
I've been
things
brushing
that
my teeth with.
but I don't know about coconut butter. Never heard
Yeah, I've been
that.
brushing my teeth with coconut butter. They say that's supposed to be good for killing bacteria in your mouth.
Interesting.
Yeah, so there's all kinds of like remedies online you can find for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
And my long guy also told me if you put castor oil over your liver, like rub it on the area where your liver is, you'll get a good night's sleep. So I'm gonna try that.
Yeah, it pulls. It's a detoxer. It pulls out infections. Castor oil is phenomenal for so many
When
things.
I was growing up, my grandma always had a bottle of castor oil in the house. Always. They used it for everything.
Interesting. Well, sweet. Well, welcome. Let's get into, or let's do the housekeeping real quick, and then we will get into the show itself. And let me pull this up for everybody. Boom. Sweet. All right, so like I like to do, first and foremost, I want to shout out Chris and Liz Bailey over on Take on the World. They allow us to share our pieces of the puzzle with their family, with their channel, and so we always want to show our gratitude. So if you haven't checked them out, definitely do and support them. They have tons of content from tons of different creators, so definitely worth checking out. And then if you don't know, if you're on Take on the World as an example, and you don't know about us, we also we're Circle of the Earth Fellowship. We have our own channel, and you can find the links to both in the description below. But yeah, we're seekers of the puzzle pieces of truth. That's why it's that's why it's the symbol. We're looking for those puzzles, and we're trying to get together and put those together in a loving and kind way, even if sometimes seemingly our puzzles don't fit. We never know what's there. So being able to be in that brotherly and sisterly love and talk about some of these divisive topics, that's what our goal is. That's what we're doing around the round table. So like we always like to do, read out the comments from the last video. We talked about mythical animals like the Bigfoot and the different worms across, the Loch Ness Monster, etc. Lots of other ones. So if you're interested in that, go check it out. We didn't get any comments over here, but remember, if you do leave a comment, you do get it read off on the stream. Over on the Circle of the Earth, let's see, did we get any? Pretty sure we did. We got a couple. It says, Brian Regal 9899 said, "Who is they you guys keep referring to? You keep saying they do this and they can do that. Who is this? Please, and please be specific." I think the best, this was my, what? Okay, so what I said to him, I just quoted scripture, Ephesians 6:12. I said, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places." That is the they I refer to. So you're saying, so you don't know? Are you asking for first, middle, and last name? Are you talking like what specific information other than the fact that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities? We're talking about demons, powers, rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Yeah, this isn't... Evil doesn't just incarnate into one person and then use that evil. Evil manipulates all that it can manipulate, anyone it can manipulate for their plan, for their desire for us to go to destruction with them, as it spells out in Enoch and Jubilees and the Testament of the 12 Patriarchs, etc. So, yeah, that's my answer to you. But I appreciate the support with the comments, Brian. Hope you come back. I hope I see you more. And then Robert said, I think the baby frog boy was fake. Yeah, like it looked fake. But to be honest, it wouldn't surprise me if those type of things existed, right? Like we're at that point where it's like, yeah, we know that they had centaurs and satyrs and all these chimera. They had all these things. So us being able to reproduce that, but more crudely, is not past my imagination. So, last few things. Discord is where this conversation and the after show, as well as the readings and all those things, go on. We share memes, we share recipes, all sorts of different things. So if you're interested in that, we also keep people up to date with content creators. So if you're interested in joining that family, again, link is in the description. We do have a merch store. That is one way to support us. But also, let me actually pull this over here. All right, I'm going to start adding this into it. Oh, I did it to the wrong screen. I did it to the screen that y'all are seeing. So we are also on Lighthouse, guys. So if you'd like to support the channel, you can also do it that way. You're able to do $5. You're able to do $5 a month to support the channel, or you can just donate. So yeah, that's another way, and I get a way bigger chunk of that. And I will never give money to YouTube. Me personally, no judgment towards you if you do. So I don't want money from YouTube, but I want to give them money. So that's just my personal conviction. So if you want to help out, check that out. And then a couple of resources that I'd like to suggest is Biblegate. Hold on.
Your microphone choppy.
You're
frozen too.
You're crackling so much.
You might want to
Vader.
turn off your video. Not the one we're watching, but your video, yeah.
All right, is it better now?
Yeah, and Robert,
Yeah.
you're muted.
Where was it? Where was it? Robert's muted, but where did I start glitching out at?
You
were crackling the whole time.
During that whole thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
I can't hear you, Robert.
Okay, I'll just finish it up. Check out Bible Gateway, Bible Hub, as well as sacredtext.com. They have the Apocrypha, Book of Jubilees, the Testament 12 Patriarchs. They also have the Book of Enoch, which we're currently doing the reading through on Peace Seekers episodes. So check that out tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern, if you're interested. Okay, sweet. So I'll go ahead and just get rid of this. Yeah, we can hear you now, Robert.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Okay, hopefully that solved the issue as far as it crackling and stuff. That was pretty crazy. But sweet. Okay, so we're talking about GMOs.
You still have a little crackle.
Really?
Doesn't he, everybody?
Yeah, and your video hasn't loaded.
I can't hear you, Kyle.
Interesting.
Can you hear me now?
I can't hear Kyle now.
I can hear Kyle. What is going on? I'm pretty sure they're mad at me for making that video. I'm pretty sure. Okay. Dude, I bet my internet speed is so messed up right now. Okay. Well, y'all can hear me. I guess my video is going to stay off for a minute while I try to figure out what exactly is going on. But anyways, so we're going to be talking about GMOs tonight. And like Kyle indicated, this is not really a conspiracy. Like most people know that genetically modified organisms are out there, and that that is just a part of how things roll, right? Like that is a part of our society. That is a part of how food is now produced in this country. And it's kind of sad thinking about it that way, as opposed to how for thousands of years our ancestors did. So I'm going to take a quick second and I'm going to read the description of the video. I do put a lot of thought into these, so that's one of the main reasons why I like to read them, is because I put some thought into them, and so for those that don't go read them already, I'd like to read them out. But yeah, so this is for GMO and Bioengineered food. So For thousands of years, man has been working with and within creation to produce sustenance from both plants and animals alike. Through agriculture, husbandry, mankind has been able to provide the necessary food for countless of our ancestors as well as for us today. Within our modern times, many strides, whether for good or bad, have been made to reduce the amount of work necessary for that same goal. However, in recent years, there has been a rapid shift towards the manipulation and alteration of nature using force instead of care. Is there anything wrong with producing more food? Are GMOs and bioengineered foods actually bad for you? Join us as we discuss the topic of GMO and bioengineered foods and the implications for our and future generations' lives from the perspective of believers seeking the puzzle pieces of truth. So, yeah, and so what I was kind of indicating before I read that was really that things have such shifted within our society where we now look to grocery stores, we now look to convenience stores, we look to fast food and restaurants for our daily sustenance, and definitely different cultures around the world, but specifically about America, that is a part of most people's lives. And so I'm not throwing shade, I'm not throwing stones at anyone who decides to, grab that burger or grab that milkshake. I'm not throwing any shade. Or you go and sit down for a nice family dinner. I get it. I have a family. I do the same things. But I think it is really important for us to look at it because Maggie's family does, and how we're starting to do, and how other people within the truth community have, and I think we should keep pushing this, is there's a solution to all of the issues that we're going to be talking tonight. And so before we get into the various things we got for y'all to share tonight, I want to go through each of you and kind of give you, a few minutes, a few minutes, it's up to you, to kind of talk about what you know about and what your experience is with these things in whichever way you would like to share. So let me grab that. Perfect. Okay, let's jump to you quick first, Maggie. What are your thoughts about this subject that we're going to talk about tonight?
Well, growing up on a farm, you eat a lot of the things that you grow, and you don't think about things being made that way as much because you're eating the things that you raise, and it's not really an object, I guess, because you raise the cattle and then you butcher the cattle and you eat them. You raise the wheat and you make bread, and it's not GMO'd to a certain extent. There are certain crops that are like the Roundup Ready crops and stuff, which is like alfalfa and corn and soybeans. So those are GMO'd. And then you have the things that aren't, like wheat isn't. So it's not a Roundup Ready crop that you would use any type of spray on. You can fertilize it, but you don't spray it. So there's just the differences in everything, and you get to see the differences because you're in the middle of all of it.
Yeah, no, that's super interesting because, like you said, there's certain crops that can't be genetically modified, and there's a different kind of vector from that, right? You can use natural fertilizer or you can use synthetic fertilizer, right? And so, of course, the point of those fertilizers, whether natural or synthetic, is to feed the crop so that it has the sustenance it needs, right, to grow. And so what type of things are you pumping into the ground? And so it's like and that even goes with it, and we'll get into that more in the end, but that even goes with, you know, having your own little farms at home, right? You having your crops at home. It's like, what type of fertilizer are you putting? Are you putting Miracle Grow on your tomatoes? Is that something you really want to then put into your body? And so there is some forethought there. But yeah, the definitely within the farming industry, right? There are so many kind of uh, you know, blockades kind of put in the way that make farmers farm a certain way, right? And for good or for worse, right? And we'll kind of get into that more as we go on. But yeah, I think you brought up so many good points, and definitely things we're going to be talking about tonight. So good start. What about you, Marsha? What's your thoughts, sister?
Well, for myself, I know Maggie and them. I have a local rancher that we get all our beef from, and we get it grass fed. We know what's going in, so we've been really fortunate for the past probably 7, 8 years, and so I don't have to deal with it that way. But there's still things, and I don't grow food. So I'm trying to if you have to go organic, although that Azure, is it Azure? Yeah, I can get my wheat berries from there if that's the name of it. It's Azure, and they're
AzureStandard.com.
yeah, they're and to bake bread with, and I get the wheat berries and grind them and get the bread that way. So there is ways of getting non-GMO things, but there are other things, boy, and you're gonna find out some of the things on the label. If you should really start checking them out, because one of the things, it was a supplement, mind you, and it was something Karen C. I asked Karen C. about, and she looks up the ingredients on one of the things. She goes, one of these things actually, it's called glycerin something that sounds really, and it was from an E. coli derivative. Go figure. I said, yikes. And so we learned something. So you almost have to know, Google everything of what ingredients are in things. You just don't know. And then to find out what it's really derived from. E. coli, it was derived from. Oh my God!
Yeah, we're actually going to talk about that. You're almost on the radar. I have an article to talk about that exact same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah. Alrighty, well, thanks for sharing. Totally agree with you. There's so many solutions to this, and you just got to you just got to put the time in if that's important to you. But yeah, let's jump over to Robert. What's your thoughts, brother?
And so I was thinking about the wheat and how uh, they messed around with the wheat that we have in America. Um, a lot of people, they got, what do they got? What do they call that again? You got the gluten.
Yeah, gluten free. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to they have to get gluten free because they can't have the gluten. But my understanding, the wheat of yesterday, or they still have wheat around that's like hasn't been modified, that someone can eat that and not have any issues.
Right.
Kind of like drinking raw milk. Someone who's lactose intolerant drinks raw milk and they don't have the same intolerance to it.
Amazing.
Exactly. My wife was lactose intolerant. She's fair skinned, redhead. Her whole life, she'd always have to take pills after eating ice cream or eating a lot of like pizza or anything like that. And as soon as we switched to raw goat and cow milk, boom, no longer a problem. She no longer has lactose intolerant. And to the wheat and the gluten, her friend, uh, exact same thing. Gluten intolerant, can eat my pancakes whole wheat, no issue. So yeah, and that's more of the solution, right? We can just start doing these things our own. Yeah, it takes a little time, but it's a lot. It would be a lot easier for me to go to the store and buy some pancake mix and mix some water in with it and make pancakes. But the time that it saves me compared to the damage I could be doing to mine and other people's bodies by giving them that thing, totally not worth it. Sweet. Let's jump over to you, Kyle. Give us your thoughts, brother.
Yeah, I guess I've always kind of been raised to look at labels and watch what I eat. Although I've learned to be even more severe about it since coming to Torah. But I at least was raised try to avoid junk foods, watch out for genetically modified stuff, which definitely was in the supermarkets when I was in high school, I believe. So uh, I've always kind of had this natural opposition to it, but they find a way to put it in everything we eat, and every time we go out and eat somewhere at a restaurant or whatever, chances are that they've brought something in that's genetically modified. So really, unless you're cutting it right at the root and you're saying I'm going to grow this food and I'm going to eat what I grow, you're taking kind of a risk, unless you go to farmers markets. But yeah, uh, it's a real problem we're facing now because it's almost like there's more genetically modified food every single day than there is natural organic food. And it's getting more crazy how they're, uh, you know, more creative ways of making it palatable for people, which is some of it's mind blowing. Like
And
3D printing your food.
uh-huh.
Yeah,
And think
3D
about
printing.
this. Think about this. Think about the fact that they spend all of this money on R&D in order to make these things, to create these things. Yet something like a tomato that you take the seed, you put it in the earth, you give it dirt, manure, and water, just those three things, you will make more tomatoes than your family can even use, and you will have to give them away so they don't spoil in your cabinet, right? Just from one tomato plant. And so, yet they put all this money into doing these things to the food when it would be so much more simple to not do those things and just make the food regularly. But that in lies part of the problem, right?
Well, it's nefarious. Totally
Absolutely.
nefarious.
Alrighty. Well, last but not least, we got our brother Frankie B. What are your thoughts about this topic, bro? Was I muted or is? Oh, it
He
looks like
is. He doesn't even hear you.
he doesn't even hear me.
Uh-uh. He's got his
Uh,
earphones on.
okay,
And they got a mind room.
maybe he has like a
There he
call or
is.
something going on. Oh,
Oh,
There he
I
is.
have a phone call I had to take care of.
oh,
Sorry.
yeah, that's what I thought. So Kyle just gave his thoughts. What are your thoughts about this topic?
Yeah, I mean they're stripping all the vitamins out of the wheat. Uh, they're modifying. They're adding preservatives. They're adding chemicals into the food that we don't really need to make a longer shelf life. I just heard that they're doing something with the fruit. I've seen videos of watermelon that it's like foaming, it's rubbery. Uh, it's they're really trying to get people
Unhealthy.
unhealthy and to be needing pharmaceuticals. It's sad, it really is. I mean, even if
You're exactly right. All the issues that are caused from putting these things into our body, they can treat the symptoms with their pharmaceuticals. Boom, double dipping.
and the fast food is the worst. I mean, it's causing obesity. You see people that are. I used to watch the show My 600 Pound Life, and it's just the McDonald's. It just goes right into their legs, into their lower. like from the shoulder up, they look like a normal person, but then they're carrying around a 600-pound body, and it's just all the GMOs, the cellulite, all the stuff that. I mean, I actually bought some chicken from a market here in Jersey, and it had growth hormones. I knew it was a little bit big, and I wasn't sure. And when I ate it, I had a bad reaction to it. I felt my allergies and my psoriasis with the itching. I started itching on my neck real bad, and my nose started running. And I think the psoriasis is linked to what they're putting in the food.
I think you noticed that, right? But I think a lot of people don't notice that. They don't.
Right, I think it's called eczema, where you get them itchy spots.
Yes.
Those dry spots.
Yeah, and I think that's linked to the poisons that they're putting in the food.
Totally, and a lot of people don't make that correlation. They ate that thing, and then a day later, half a day later, they have a symptom. They don't go, "Oh, I ate that thing, therefore I'm having this symptom," right? And so it's even easier to miss if you don't look into it.
And they're advertising the eczema medicine on TV, and I realized it, and I'm like, it's a reaction to the food. And I had to throw the chicken away. I spent like $10 on 4 chicken thighs, and I had to throw 2 of them away because I correlated the bad reaction to the chicken. And then I bought steak off the same place, and it had red dye in it. Because they didn't want it. Maybe the meat was a little greenish, and I noticed when I cut them out of the packages, this red dye was just coming off the meat. I kind of washed it off, and I still ate it, and I spent a lot of money for it.
Yeah.
And you're spending like $20 for this meat, and you're getting bad reactions to it. I mean, it's sad, man. Actually, a couple guys at work, they went to a butcher in the mountains, and they got a whole cow cut up. It was a really good deal.
Yeah, we have a local Torah observant Christians that we've known from church and stuff. We buy whole like goats or whole lambs from them.
Yeah. I buy a side of beef. Twice a year.
And I heard the Amish, they have really good meats. So I'm just shopping around to get. I just really want to get some good meat that I can enjoy.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind paying money. I don't mind paying money for good food, quality food.
But that's what's interesting, right? Is the cheaps. Well, that's what I was gonna. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm not going to pay the same price for meat that's either got red dye in it or it's shot up with growth hormones. You know what I mean? It's sad.
But think about this: the food that they put all of this research and development, all of this money into producing, right, is cheaper than the food that you don't have to do any of that to. All you have to do is let nature take its process. You water the food, you feed the crops, right, or the animals. It's super easy to do, like comparatively to doing all this research and looking into the DNA and looking into the genome and then splicing the alligator test, like whatever, to the stupid stuff. So, but they do it anyways.
Too, if you're paying $1 or $2 for a cheeseburger, are you really getting meat?
Yeah.
I mean, you're paying $2 for a double, or for a quarter pound, or for a double cheeseburger from McDonald's. I mean, really, are you really getting real meat? And they're serving 1 billion people a day.
Yeah.
Is that real meat? I mean, my God, you got to ask yourself.
For sure.
Is it really just only $2 for a McDonald's hamburger? I'd swear it would be more.
It used to be $1. I think it's probably like on the $5 menu now, but still, even though, I mean, Five Guys, they use real meat, and their burgers are like $15 a piece. But you're getting quality food.
What?
Yeah, I mean,
no, their meals. Maybe I don't know.
No,
$15 you get hamburger.
You get a double bacon cheeseburger with lettuce, tomato, onions on it. It's like $12.
I would never get such a thing.
I would if it. I'll pay for a good meal. I don't mind paying for a good meal, but I'm not paying for. I don't want to. I don't want to put crap food in my body. You know what I mean?
Well, then don't
Like
eat bacon.
Oh, there's some good beef bacon.
Yeah, I love beef bacon. Beef bacon is my favorite.
And you could get-
All right. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
So yeah, let's start sharing some videos we got here. Okay, so this Yami, how do you like build?
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about, the watermelon. Yeah, the watermelon video. Yep.
So let's check this out.
For some mysterious reason, in the past few months, there's been loads of videos popping up all over social media of people.
Take our video off.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that just so the video plays nicely. Little quick announcement. I got a new computer. It's coming. I'll have it soon, and I'm hoping like these issues, these freezing issues and stuff like that. If this doesn't correct it, then it's like I need to get like a fiber to my house or something for the internet. But yeah, let's check this out. Maggie, if you would drop off a camera just for the videos, I would appreciate that.
People buying what looks like fake food. It all started just a couple of weeks ago in the United States when several people started noticing that there was something off about the watermelon that they were buying on the supermarkets.
So I got this watermelon up, and I like to rinse my watermelon before I cut it, and it's like peeling. Does anybody has problems with their watermelon like this? Oh my god.
This is the craziest thing I've ever seen.
It sounds like the goat is dying.
There are dozens of videos where people buy watermelon from the supermarket and it looks strange. Sometimes it looks like plastic, sometimes it makes these weird noises, and sometimes, or many times actually, it feels as if it's made out of rubber.
So I cut watermelon for my kids, and they're all bringing it right back, saying they don't like the texture. And I've seen enough videos of people posting rubbery watermelon. I can't believe I got one. I got a rubbery watermelon. The texture is so weird. Like, you gotta bend it so far before it will break.
But it wasn't just rubbery. There was something else about the watermelon that was bothering.
Oh. Sorry about that. It lagged and is not showing it. Okay, let's go back. I apologize, everyone. I'm going to start that over again. Sorry, everyone.
Did you know there's no video showing up on YouTube?
I did not, because I had it on a different screen.
For some
mysterious
mysterious
that it wasn't showing it.
How dare you?
Okay.
reason, in the past few months, there's been loads of videos popping up all over social media of people buying what looks like fake food. It all started just a couple of weeks ago in the United States when several people started noticing that there was something off about the watermelon that they were buying on the supermarkets.
So I got this watermelon up, and I like to rinse my watermelon before I cut it, and it's like peeling. Does anybody has problems with their watermelon like this? Oh my gosh.
This is the craziest thing I've ever seen.
It sounds like the goat is dying.
There are dozens of videos where people buy watermelon from the supermarket and it looks strange. Sometimes it looks like plastic, sometimes it makes these weird noises, and sometimes, or many times actually, it feels as if it's made out of rubber.
So I cut watermelon for my kids, and they're all bringing it right back, saying they don't like the texture. And I've seen enough videos of people posting rubbery watermelon. I can't believe I got one. I got a rubbery watermelon. The texture is so weird. Like, you gotta bend it so far before it will break.
But it wasn't just rubbery. There was something else about the watermelon that was bothering a lot of people.
Okay, y'all. I threw this watermelon out over a week ago. It smelled really good. Bought it for more. cut it open, and it was like plastic. Tasting it was absolutely horrible. I didn't really know what to do with it, so I threw it outside. This is a week later. It looks like mud. What's going on?
It was pretty obvious that there was something off about the watermelon and a lot of people were noticing it. But here's the thing, it wasn't just the watermelons.
There you go.
People were also noticing the same thing happening with avocados, blueberries, bananas, and the list goes on.
We got it from the supermarket, but when she opens it and she breaks it in half, it gets very tough and doesn't really break. And when it pulls, it's like it's glue. It's very tight and doughy. It looks very, very fake and Play-Doh.
In this next video, Ari Osborne explains how she bought blueberries in the supermarket. When she gave it to her kid, she noticed that one of them looked like it was made out of rubber. Check this out.
It's left in her little bowl and I put it down the drain for the garbage disposal. And I push the button, you know, it's doing its thing, but there's a clanking and it sounds like something's stuck. So I go in the drain and there's a blueberry that's not breaking apart. It's not. I pick it up and why is there a rubber blueberry in my toddler's snack?
She cut it in half and it actually looks as if it's made out of silicone or something like that. Strange, isn't it? But it gets even stranger. In this next video, a woman tests out the food in the supermarket using a magnet, and this is what happens.
Look at this shit.
Weak
The
language.
magnet that I got from here into the great chicken. Let's try for
Might start taking a magnet with me when I go shopping.
After these videos were posted and became a viral sensation, it made a lot of people ask the same question. Are we possibly eating fake food? What's your take?
Yeah, I heard that it's a certain foundation.
That was really loud.
They
My
came up
sister.
with a formula. I heard it's a certain foundation. They came up with a formula that they're injecting into the food.
My sister actually did, and this was a few years back when COVID, and they were saying something about some whatever that I forget the name of it, that I don't know. Anyway, so she took a magnet to her chicken and it stuck. And I said, see, I get my stuff from a local rancher. Anyway, so I used, yes, Frankie. So I asked her the next time she goes and checks out, see if it happened to beef too. But it didn't happen to the free range chicken. There was no magnet, wouldn't stick on the free range chicken she bought, but it stuck on the, the cheaper stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting things. One thing I will say about the whole rubber food thing, it may be like something Frankie was saying where they inject it into the actual food. My thought is it's a good way to scam out of a lot of money, because because they're selling them by the tons, right? When this food is being sold, it's being sold from the farmers by the tons. And so if they just put X amount of rubber watermelon, if they just put X amount of rubber blackberries, they could get quite, in one every crate, the amount of that they're doing, it would profit them to do that. So I could totally see that. But the fact that these are getting then to people's plates makes it seem like more of an agenda, because I don't like how are the workers like grabbing these things and not feeling the weight difference. And so I don't know. I'm kind of iffy about, like, I'm obviously see all those videos too of people showing them, but whether they're genetically modified, whether they're rubber that's injected with fragrances. I have no idea what that could be. Sweet. So we have another video here, Frankenfood. It's what's for dinner. Let's eat, guys. We're gonna watch a little bit of this, not all of it. This video is by Shaking My Mind, My Head. Go check them out. YouTube Shaking My Head.
Yep.
It's alive! Alive!
Look, Smithers, it's moving! It's alive! Yes! It's alive! It's alive! It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
A message from the false advertising industry.
We've successfully used the word natural to sell billions of dollars of product that nobody would otherwise eat. Foods that have been fertilized in sewage, food products that have been processed beyond all recognition. And by adding the word natural to genetically modified organisms, we're doing God's work. Literally. I mean, we are claiming all these life forms that he or she never had the foresight to create. And we're making sure that people think of them as natural. And it feels good. Feels good.
There and talk, because I think the fact that, so we're obviously talking about genetically modified organisms, right? And what did we talk about last episode and the episode before? 2 episodes ago, we were talking about angels, the fallen ones, doing all this crafting, and then, you know, and those the material evidence and the historical evidence within histories and stories about those creatures. And then last episode we talked about mythological creatures, which are, you know, Bigfoot and all those things, and how those kind of interconnect to the demons and the Nephilim and all that stuff. And so now we're kind of going down a little bit in scale, and instead of looking at the whole creature as a whole, something that's unique or distinct, we're talking about crops. We're talking about animals that you don't see, that you're not looking at. 1 and 2, most part they look the same as the alternative. It's just ever so slight adjustments to their genomes, additions, subtractions, etc., but are not within nature. They are definitely forcing these things to happen. And great little comedy there. So let's continue.
Can I just give me 1 second? I promised myself I wasn't going to do this. All right, can we just cut for a second? Are we cut? We're cut. Good. Do you think they bought it?
Congratulations, boys. You made it through another Taco Tuesday. Back in the bucket till next week.
Won't those vegetables go bad?
Nope, they're genetically modified to stay fresh. Just don't ask how old the Jell-O is.
Ew. Overreactor.org warns that over half of the vegetables sold in this country are genetically modified organisms whose effect on humans is unknown.
After Leonardo DiCaprio investing in cultivated meat startups, we're talking about Mosa Meat and Aleph Farms. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. He's also going to be joining the advisory boards of both companies. And of course, Leonardo DiCaprio has long been a very, very active or vocal climate activist, we should say. This is part of, that thesis that he's been pushing for, lowering or reducing the carbon footprint, greenhouse gas emissions. And I know, Zach, I think people hear cultivated meat, lab-grown meat. It doesn't sound very appealing. I don't know if that's more appealing than plant-based meat, but the reality is this is kind of where the market is going, just given the footprint that we've seen. Dairy and meat combined accounting for about 14.5% of
Cow farts
global
and
greenhouse
climate
gas
change.
emissions, at least according to numbers out from the UN. And some would argue that's just not sustainable anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, brother. I hate that not sustainable.
It's not sustainable. Interesting, because human life has been sustaining, you said, now for hundreds of thousands of years. It's not sustainable. Weird. I don't believe you. But I'm going to jump over real quick to a couple articles. Sorry, this one. About cultivated meat. And yeah, so this is obviously pro for it. Good Food Institute is letting you know about this. The science of cultivated meat. Learn about the science of cultivated meat and the challenges that must be addressed for commercial production. Introduction to cultivated meat. What is cultivated meat? Cultivated meat, also known as cultured meat, is genuine animal meat, included seafood and organ meats, that is produced by cultivating animal cells directly. This production method eliminates the needs to raise and farm animals for food. Cultivated meat is made of the same cell types that are being arranged in the same or similar structure as animal tissues, thus replicating the sensory and nutritional profiles of conventional meat. Dutch scientist Mark Post unveiled the first cultivated meat burger on live television in 2013. 2 years later, the first 4 cultivated meat companies were founded. The industry has since grown to more than 150 companies on 6 continents as of late 2022, backed by $2.6 billion in investment, each aiming to produce cultivated meat products. Dozens more companies have formed to create technology solutions along the value chain. Decades of accumulated knowledge in cell culture, stem cell biology, tissue engineering, fermentation, and chemical and bioprocess engineering preceded the field of cultivated meat. Hundreds of companies and academic laboratories worldwide are conducting research across these disciplines to establish a new paradigm for manufacturing commodity meat products as at industrial scales. So we'll go into this a little bit, but okay. Let's just read. Okay, so this is the cultivated meat made. The manufacturing process begins with acquiring and banking stem cells from an animal. Okay, so what do you do once the animals are all gone? If your aim is to get rid of the animals and just produce it in vats, like PETA would love that. Anyways, these cells are grown in bioreactors known as colloquially as cultivators, at high densities and volume. Similarly to what happens inside of an animal's body, the cells are fed oxygen-rich cell culture medium made up of basic nutrients such as amino acids, glucose, vitamins, and inorganic salts, and supplemented with growth factors and other proteins. Oh, what are those growth factors and other proteins? We would all love to know. Changes in the medium composition, often in tandem with cues for a scaffolding structure, trigger immature cells to differentiate into the cellular muscle, fat, and connective tissues that make up meat. The differentiated cells are then harvested, prepared, and packaged into the final product. Weird. This process is expected to take between 2 and 8 weeks, depending on what kind of meat is being cultivated. Some companies are pursuing a similar strategy to create milk and other animal products. No, thank you. I'll just take it from the nipple. I'll just take it from the udder, okay? It's not that hard, guys. It's like they think that cow farts are literally the problem. So to get rid of the cow farts, we need a bioengineer. We need to cultivate meats in a vat. So freaking disgusting. So let's jump back to that video and keep chugging along. We'll watch this for a little bit.
You know, you cover our kind of climate front here for us, Yahoo Finance Live. If there was a meat reporter here at Kiko, I guess it'd have to be me. Because, you know, I'm a big meat fan, you know, and we talked about this in the morning meeting, just very different. You can talk about plant-based, lab-grown meat, obviously not the same it might appeal. It all comes down to taste. It might appeal more so to maybe conscious carnivores out there, but I still think there will probably be, regardless of price and pricing pressures there, as that comes down, or that's the belief that it'll come down, there'll still be people who just prefer the old-fashioned, real deal, came from a cow meat, or came from whatever animal meat, and I think that might just be, something that it shakes out over time relative to price and comfortability. But I mean, speaking of DiCaprio here, we've seen him invest in a few of these lab-grown companies before. Even on the diamond side, came out really against the idea of mining diamonds in Africa, invested in a few companies, Diamond Foundry being the big one that he's invested in. So the idea of lab-grown anything, not foreign to DiCaprio. Interesting to see him, though, double down in the meat space.
Maybe they can change the branding a little. Lab-grown anything just doesn't sound appealing. In full disclosure, I do eat meat, so I'm not anti-meat. It's just when you look at the numbers, it's just not sustainable. And here's a number to throw out here. Global meat consumption expected to grow 40 to 70% by 2050. The cultivated meat market, and this is according to numbers provided by these companies, expected to reach $25 billion by 2030. And we were just showing some other companies on our screen that are in this space. We're not just talking about meat. There's a company called Finless Foods that is doing cell-grown seafood, lab-grown seafood. So, I mean, there's a lot of innovation happening in this space, and all of that is dictated by the market and where things are moving as a result of climate change.
Blah, blah, blah. Build back better. Blah, blah, blah. Green economy. Blah, blah, blah.
How double dog.
How dare you?
There were lots of questions that came in regarding GMOs. A lot of people want to know how you balance the opportunity to address food scarcity with the concerns that many have around GMOs.
Right, so genetically modified organisms, that's where you create a new seed by using some biological approach that changes the gene. One example is you can put a gene in that prevents the plant from getting disease. And so a disease that's wiping out the crops of poor people and causing tens of thousands to starve, you can get rid of that.
Just buy this $100,000 bag, 1 ounce bag of this magic susu sauce and spread it over your crops, and we'll cure your disease that we caused.
Yeah. And they're such liars. I mean, they say that there's going to be more, we're going to have more people with more meat. The one thing that's not happening, the baby boomers, the big population, we're all going to be dying off, and people aren't having as many children these days. They're lying.
Yeah, there's so.
Yeah, that's the foundation I was talking about. With the rubbery fruit.
Gotcha.
But I like your theory on the poundage. If they throw some rubber fruits in there, they'll get more. They'll get more pounds. And that makes a lot of sense too.
Well, heck, what they're doing now, and this has got nothing to do with GMO, but they used to be the party pack, and now they're just lessening. They're lessening the ounces of everything inside of stuff, and actually costing more. They're doing it. Yeah, they're doing all kinds.
That's all for profit for sure. So yeah,
doing it on purpose. There's plenty of land in this realm.
Yes,
that we can grow real crops, and in good areas. There's plenty of land where we can grow cattle.
Yes,
there's tons of land that's maybe not like cultivation ready right now, but we have the ability to cultivate it. Like,
oh, absolutely,
exactly.
Yeah,
they're doing this on purpose because they want to shorten our lifespan.
They want to double dip. Yep,
and they want us hooked on pharmaceuticals.
The techniques we're using here were actually invented for human medicine. And in the case of human medicine, we don't have a total ban on all drugs that are created this way, nor do we have a total acceptance. What we do is each drug gets created, it's trialed, and then each country has scientists who look at, okay, what are the benefits and what are the risks of that new drug, and they decide. And it's a very sophisticated system that's trying to maximize human welfare. For plants, it's going to be the risks of that new drug, and they
Look at this little indication that he does when he says for human welfare.
decide. And it's a very sophisticated system that's trying to maximize human welfare.
He wants to say maximize human death.
Yeah.
But he can't say that, so he does that little adjustment and then says human welfare.
I think he's the most evil person alive. He really is. It's sad.
Well, he's one of the most evil.
Sure.
For plants, it's going to be the same. That is, to a priori say, no, we don't want that seed that blocks disease. That's dooming the poorest to never have this kind of tool. And it'd be ironic, since many of these advances are creating things like drought tolerance that poor people only need because rich people have been emitting so much CO2 that the climate conditions are worse for those poor people. Now, making sure that there's that scientific depth so that they can analyze crop by crop, that's something that the foundation is helping to invest in, but each country will have its own decisions. And there are in the pipeline some fantastic crops that need to be looked at. We have decades of experience where rich countries have used GMOs. Some countries like South Africa, Burkina Faso, Egypt are using some GMOs right now. But the big wins are ones that come later, and each of those should be looked at as a special case, not ruled out or ruled in based on the general perception.
Hey, pizza, I'm hungry.
All right, just wait your turn.
When it's ready, could you just shove it in my mouth?
Don't you be a smart
I'll crank the atrocity channel.
Hydrate level 4, please.
Is it ready?
Here you go.
Oh boy, Mom, you sure can hydrate a pizza. No, I'm sorry, I missed that whole thing.
Al, I'm just worried about Jennifer.
Almost like a spot.
Dad, it's for you.
All right, Mom, take down.
It's a little bit mushy. Almost like a sponge.
It's cultivated in a lab from fish cells by Hong Kong-based food tech startup Avant Meats. Fish maw is the swim bladder of large fish like croaker. It's a delicacy in Chinese cuisine, and it's believed to have many health benefits.
花膠本身咧，佢係好高蛋白質啦，咁其實你對皮膚好好啦，好有 collagen 啦。
High-quality fish maw can sell for thousands of dollars a pound. But the demand for seafood has led to overfishing and driven some marine species to the brink of extinction. Fish farming, or aquaculture, has been touted as a solution to overfishing. But it can have harmful environmental consequences, such as ocean pollution. Companies like Avant Meats want to solve these problems with cultivated fish. The company also makes cell-based fish fillets.
So this lab-grown meat is made from grouper. The texture is a little bit different than fish normally would be. It's not quite as flaky. I'm pretty squeamish about eating any kind of animal. I was a vegetarian for 10 years, but knowing that this wasn't an actual fish, I actually feel okay eating it.
Smart.
Hey, lady, where did they get those cells to cultivate that meat? From a real animal.
Avant Meats is still developing its products, but it plans to start selling them sometime in 2022.
Alrighty, let's go ahead and move on to the next one. We got lobbyist claims Monsanto Roundup is safe to drink. Yeah, so we had Maggie talking earlier about how Monsanto has created Roundup ready crops like corn and soy and things like that, and that Roundup ready stuff is obviously not good for you. But let's see what this guy has to say.
I do not believe that glyphosate in Argentina is causing increases in cancer. You can drink a whole quart of it and it won't hurt you.
You want to drink some? We have some here.
I'd be happy to, actually. But not really, but
not really.
I know it wouldn't hurt me.
If you say so, I have some glyphosate.
No, I'm not stupid.
Okay. So you.
No, but I know
so it's dangerous, right?
No, people try to commit suicide with it and fail fairly regularly.
Tell the truth.
It's not dangerous to humans. No, it's not.
So you're ready to drink one glass of glyphosate?
No, I'm not an idiot. Interview me about golden rice. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, then it's finished. Then the interview is finished.
That's a good way to solve things.
Yeah. You're a complete jerk.
So yeah, dude, why wouldn't you drink the glyphosates? I thought it's completely safe for humans. Will you drink it? No, I'm not an idiot.
What, you think I'm not an idiot?
Like
how can you say that?
Like, dude, there has to be some spiritual implications, like growing old faster, losing your mind, to being able to say, oh, it's completely safe. No, I will not drink it. I'm not an idiot.
I'm not an idiot.
To hold those two beliefs at the same time. It's literally preposterous.
Yes.
All right. Secret ingredients. Let's check this out. Oh, there we go.
Actually revealed that they found numerous types of cancers in virtually every organ and gland of the animal's body. The experiments that they did clearly showed that glyphosate causes several different types of lung cancer, as well as causing interstitial destruction of the cells of the lungs, which would lead to COPD and asthma-like conditions. So in my particular situation, it's particularly close to home because my wife Jermaine has COPD. And the doctor's prognosis back in 2002, there was nothing they could do for her. She has less than 2 years to live. And I told the pulmonologist, not on my watch. And that's when both of us changed our diets. Well, that was in 2002, and now it's 2015. She's still with us. And her doctors say they don't understand why she's still with us. They attribute it to her diet. They say it's your organic diet that's keeping you alive. Monsanto knew. And that's what makes me angry. They knew. And they lied.
That's what they do.
Yeah, Satan definitely tries to kill, steal, and destroy, and so yeah,
well,
they love it.
You really think about it, they've been doing nefarious things, just like pasteurized milk. That is not good. Now, how long has that been? 1900, 18? I don't know.
Yeah, it's been a long time, for sure. All right, let's check this out. The non-GMO scam.
I think milk is the grossest thing ever.
Totally.
Welcome to another episode of Poison in Your Food. I'm Dr. Darren Wayne, your food scientist, also known as the Food Guru. What does the non-GMO label really mean? We see the non-GMO label everywhere these days, on all sorts of products, from junk food, yes, to, of course, certified organic products. But have you ever asked yourself how these junk food makers can claim to be non-GMO when none of their junk has ever even been certified organic? The answer is simple. You don't have to be organic to claim non-GMO. Let me say that again. You do not have to be organic to claim non-GMO. So then, why can they still claim non-GMO without ever being organic and without even including a single natural ingredient? Well, because being non-GMO has nothing to do with being organic. Heck, you could label a Twinkie non-GMO if you really wanted to. It's so unfortunate that so many people have been tricked into believing non-GMO is somehow healthy and even comparable to the organic certification, even though one has nothing to do with the other. So, what does the non-GMO label really mean? It means lies. It means deceit. And it means greed. You see, when GMOs became a thing and everyone around started noticing just how dangerous GMOs are, the junk food makers got together to discuss an incredible opportunity for them, which was to make their junk food seem healthier by simply slapping a non-GMO claim on their junk food packages. And from a psychological perspective, when the masses see that a brand is avoiding one poison, they automatically assume that brand is also avoiding all poison. And they know this is exactly what the masses believe, and the fact that most people now associate the non-GMO label with also being organic is proof. Tricky, aren't they? The claim that a particular product was non-GMO and therefore safer to eat has now been turned into a lie to sell more junk food. You see, GMO means genetically modified organism, which requires GMO seeds to be used to grow GMO crops. But if the farmer does not use GMO seeds to grow their crops, but instead still uses regular seeds and sprays their crops with pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, and of course artificial fertilizer, technically they can claim non-GMO, right? But you're still eating pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, and artificial fertilizers, which is what GMOs are already. That's why the non-GMO claim means absolutely nothing. Now, there is one instance where the non-GMO claim actually matters, and that's when you see the non-GMO seal and the USDA organic seal together on the same package. Only in this instance can you trust the non-GMO seal. But then again, the only way to become organic certified is if the food was grown without GMOs. So that means that the non-GMO seal is certainly useless when it is on junk food, but also useless when it's on certified organic too. And don't get me started on what I think certified organic is and how it has been slowly becoming less and less organic over the years, which is another episode. The only way to avoid all the lies out there is to eat 100% clean every day.
Check out more from the Mill Beatrix lifestyle over here on BitChute if you're interested. All right, so you were kind of talking about this a little bit before, but aspartame patent reveals E. coli feces used. The European patent for aspartame is now available online, and it confirms the artificial sweetener is made from the waste products of genetically modified E. coli bacteria. Though this fact was reported as early as 1990, not much attention was paid at the time to aspartame and its maker, Monsanto, which has allegedly added GM aspartame to soft drinks in Britain. The patent refers to cloned microorganisms later revealed to be genetically modified E. coli bacteria. They are modified to produce an especially large peptide used to create aspartame. The cultivated and well-fed bacteria then produce proteins which contain the aspartic acid salicylic amino acid segment required to produce the sweetener. The bacteria waste is then treated to turn the large peptide and a free carboxyl group into dipeptide. The dipeptides are then treated with alcohol and methanol to produce aspartame. Controversy has steadily grown around genetically modified foods and GM giant Monsanto. Coke recently ran an ad campaign defending their use of aspartame, saying studies support the product's safety. Oh, weird. Coke did an ad campaign defending it after doing studies that they paid for to save their products. Also, he used to be a huge gum chewer. Definitely check your gum, guys, because the E. coli poop is what is the sweet taste you're tasting when you are chewing most gums. Sorry if I'm ruining that for you, but
you know what else is all the shiny stuff like Skittles or maybe or Skittles and things like that? That's pork. Just to let anybody know. But the E. coli, the thing, glycerol monocrate is derived from E. coli, and it was in supplements.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but see, same type of thing, right? They're taking E. coli, they're
using E. coli for food, but you think you're getting supplements. Your supplements are good, and they've got that in it.
Yeah, and you're it's sweet, right? It tastes sweet, so how could it possibly be? No, I'm talking about aspartame.
Oh, yeah.
It's sweet. How could it be bad for you, right? It's sugar-free. It's so much better than just eating natural sugar. Eat this, eat the poop from GMO E. coli. All right, let's check this out for a minute.
Bahashem, Hakodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who.
It's too much. Too much, bro. Let's see if I can do a little refresh on this. Interesting. It's just not playing. Okay. Give me 1 second, guys. Let's go here real quick. Let me go.
Is it a good video?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's not very long, but it's Let me pull this up real quick. It's like 54 seconds long. Okay, let's see if this one plays. Wow, all of these are not working.
Wow.
1 second, let me try these two. 1, 2. Okay. Switch this back over. This is crazy. None of the... Whoa. All right, let's see if this one will play. Nope, look.
For the first time, U.S. regulators approved the sale of chicken made from animal cells. It allows 2 California companies to offer lab-grown meat to restaurants. The cultivated meat is grown in steel tanks using cells that come from a living animal, a fertilized egg, or a special bank of stored cells.
It feels strange, a little peculiar initially, but after a period of time, it becomes ubiquitous and boring, and that's eventually the path for cultivated meat.
Okay, but don't look for it at grocery stores anytime soon. Cultivated chicken is apparently much more expensive and cannot yet be produced on the scale of traditional meats.
I'm trying it. I think.
Yeah? Okay.
For all the other things we eat.
Yeah, that's true.
Watch breaking news on YouTube. Subscribe to ABC 7 Chicago.
Yeah, so just another, just another indication that, like them putting, like, I'll try it, I'll eat it. And so gross. All right. Interesting. Is this not... Is it like bit shooter? Okay, let's try this one.
Hey guys, welcome back to Yanasa TV.
This is from Yanasa TV. Cool. Yeah, NASA. How about NASA?
TV. I know that video yesterday was pretty long, but I wanted to make sure that I didn't cut anything out so nobody could accuse me of cherry picking information. But today I wanted to talk about something else. I've been in some conversations with some other agricultural professionals in our area, people who deal with a multitude of different farms, and we were just kind of having a casual conversation about what we think may be like the biggest issues for agriculture in the near future. And some of these issues you guys have heard of, some of them have gotten a little more intense in the last few days. And so I'm going to dig a little more into one of these issues, but there's a lot going on right now. When you look at water rights, for example, out west, this has been an ongoing issue for years. And then we saw the curtailment order in Idaho, and it really kind of opened a lot of people's eyes. And traditionally, I may have been one of those people who said, hey, senior rights holders have senior rights. But then, in recent years, what we've seen is a lot of large investment groups coming in and buying up water rights to flip them for millions of dollars worth of profit to city development and things like meta data centers where why do we need all these data centers anyway? It's like, I feel like we're building an infrastructure of spyware across the country because Facebook, man, they collect a lot of data on you. It's a little unnerving if you think about it. But water rights is definitely a big issue. The drought conditions here in the southeast, something I'll talk about once we have a little more information on it. You've had a lot of crop losses in South Carolina, a lot of crop losses in North Carolina. But to be able to measure the extent of those states and how it's going to impact the overall harvest this year, I think it's still too early to tell. There's a chance for recovery in some areas. Another issue we talked about was PFAS chemicals. That is a big issue that we're going to see regulatory movement on, and I think it's going to have far-reaching impacts as they continue to figure this thing out. I don't think, I haven't spoken to anybody that agrees that PFAS are good things to have around, but the reality is that they're here. They're everywhere. Mitigating that is going to be very tough. We have to kind of start with the manufacturing side. I do think it's interesting. There was a recent university study out of Texas, I believe, and they determined that there's a lot of PFAS contamination coming out of lithium batteries. And in general, kind of our green power grid, if you think about the solar panels and other things that are using products that have these chemicals in them being installed across the country and on farmland, nonetheless. I don't know if you guys have ever been out to where there's a lot of wind turbines. Some of you live in those areas. Sometimes you see those turbines leaking oil, all sorts of chemicals as they spin around, and nobody comes out to fix them. A lot of the companies that install these wind turbines end up going bankrupt. They're operating off of government grants. It's completely unsustainable. And then they don't.
This is getting a little off topic, but I just wanted to show real quick, like, farmers are dealing with these issues, and it's not a lot of most people don't have to deal with these issues. One, because they're not growing in mass, or two, because most people get their food from grocery stores, me included. So we're taking steps to change that and to fix some of these issues with solutions that are super simple, but they just keep going.
Okay, we are live. We are live!
Okay, wait. I'm trying to remember where I had that set. Let's go ahead and play this one first. And then we'll come back to this other one.
So we have a serious problem in the making here, folks, and it looks like it isn't going to go away anytime soon. For several years now, we have seen the push for more sustainable living, which includes the propaganda for the sale of insects and lab-grown meat for human consumption. And anyone with more than 2 brain cells can intuitively surmise that this is a bad idea. Florida now poised to become the first state in the nation to ban lab-grown meat. We're not going to do that fake meat. So here's what happened. The GOP-led House of Representatives in Florida passed a law that stops the making and selling of lab-grown meat. If someone breaks this rule, they could face a second-degree misdemeanor charge. Now, this law is waiting for Governor Ron DeSantis to decide if it becomes official. He's already said he's on board with it, stating, "We're not going to do that fake meat." People who support lab-grown meat say it could be a good alternative to the regular meat industry, which they think is bad for the environment. Some other states have made rules about how lab-grown meat has to be labeled, but Florida is the first to flat out ban it. Some other states like Arizona, Alabama, and New Hampshire are thinking of doing the same thing. Even Italy said no to lab-grown meat last year. Now, a lot of big agriculture groups like in Florida are all for this law, like the Farm Bureau and the Cattlemen's Association. Democrats in the House argued against the law, saying it's not fair to pick sides and help one industry over another. They worry that this might scare off new businesses and tech companies that want to invest in Florida. At the same time, there are those, of course, who think that most people aren't even going to be interested in lab-grown meat. One Republican lawmaker, Dean Black, who's also a cattle rancher, doesn't think lab...
I just want to stop and say thank you, NASA. Thank you, space, for giving us this. Because, you know, like the fact that we can just grow meat in vats, you know, we just got to add another vat, another stainless steel tank to the ISS, and boom, they get meat forever.
Grown meat is really meat at all. He says it's more like a bacterial culture and doesn't have the same qualities as real meat. And he is absolutely correct about that. So, after the vote, Florida's Agriculture Commissioner, Wilton Simpson, said this law is about making sure Floridans always have enough safe and affordable food. The House and Senate both voted for this law, so it's moving forward. As it should. Because above everything, this has never been done before, and we don't know what's going to happen to people when they start eating this stuff. This all feels like another experiment, and we already have ethical laws in place that make experimentation on humans illegal. We need more government leaders to stand up and just...
That's such a good point right there. You know, it's illegal to do direct experimentation on humans without their consent. Yet, if you put it in the food, you can kind of do that without having to pay them or for their consent. I guess it is their consent when when we buy it from the grocery store or the fast food restaurant.
Say no.
That's like what Bill Gates said in the prior video, where he's like, there's a kind of a gray line when it's in your food.
Such a gray line, you know, it is. It's a big, thick band gray line.
Save us from the madness.
Check out more from Woodward TV about this topic. This is called Lab-Grown Meat, What You Need to Know About Secret Cultivated Meat. We're going to watch a few minutes of this more, and then, but I'll leave it to you to watch the rest of it if you're interested. So check them out on BitChute.
I like him.
So let me briefly explain the process of cell-cultured meat or lab-grown meat. It begins with isolating a small sample of animal cells, typically obtained from a muscle biopsy taken from a live animal. These cells are then placed in a nutrient-rich solution known as a growth medium, which provides the necessary nutrients for the cells to multiply and grow. Now, over time, the cells organize themselves into three-dimensional structures that resemble real meat tissue, with scientists using various techniques such as scaffolding for the cells to grow on and bioreactors to support this growth. Once the cultured meat reaches the desired texture and consistency, it is harvested from the lab and processed into familiar meat products like burgers or sausages. Before being sold to consumers, the cultured meat may undergo additional processing to enhance its flavor, texture, and appearance. Then the finished products are packaged and distributed to grocery stores, restaurants, or other food outlets for purchase and consumption. The United States and Singapore are the only countries that have approved this to be safe for human consumption. And that alone should be a major red flag. The United States wants you sick. They want you taking more drugs on top of drugs on top of drugs. So right now, there are more than 156 countries around the world that are producing cultivated meat. And several of those countries...
He said 150 countries, right? So 150 countries are producing it, but only 2 say that it's safe to eat. Interesting.
Companies are here in the U.S., and 2 of those companies have already been approved to start selling this stuff since last year. Good Meat and Upside Foods. Now this is the COO of Upside Foods, Amy Chen. Let's see what she has to say about this company and its agenda.
Upside Foods COO. Amy, it's great to see you. Before we get into this and what this means for your business going forward, I think a lot of people are asking themselves, what exactly is lab-grown chicken? What is it and how do you make it?
Great. Thanks, Sean. It's good to be with you today. We call it cultivated chicken.
We call it cultivated chicken? Well, first of all, Amy, it is not chicken, because a chicken has a brain, beak, eyes, feathers, blood, cartilage, and bones. What you are calling chicken is a pile of muscle cells clumped together to form a mass that was not intended to be eaten by anything, let alone human beings.
So it's essentially the meat that you've always known, but made in a new way. So it's literally grown from animal cells. So we start with a sample of cells, we feed them nutrients, vitamins, etc., in what we call a cultivator.
We feed them nutrients, vitamins, etc. So that's what we're doing, Amy? You're just going to fly through that part, huh? What does it actually mean when you say nutrients, vitamins, etc.? What does that mean? Well, according to your company's method of process, that would include water, saccharides, sugars like glucose and fructose, which can be sourced from plants, most likely wheat and corn, but also from refined sugars like glucose syrup and high fructose corn syrup, which would be cheaper to use, amino acids like glutamine and lysine, which are sourced from wheat, soy, corn, and peas, all or most of which are genetically modified, which is not a clean source of food for a chicken or any other living organism. Not to mention that the production of these crops does harm many animals. Vitamins like vitamin C and vitamin B6 which probably comes from the most cost-effective option of fermentation, and you have to engineer bacteria and yeast in order to produce those two vitamins. Minerals like calcium and potassium, and these minerals are usually sourced from chemical salts that contain calcium and magnesium, among other minerals. Buffers and processing aids like sodium bicarbonate or baking soda is used so that they can control the pH of the growth medium. Salts. But Amy, you didn't mention that Upside Foods still uses FBS, or fetal bovine serum. Upside Foods website states, "We've eliminated the use of fetal bovine serum from our small-scale tissue production process. It's used in small quantities in our early cell banking process, and still used gelatin and bovine and chicken serum." If you don't know what that is, folks, it's also known as fetal calf serum, FCS. It's a common supplement used in cell culture media. It is derived from the blood of fetal calves, young cows, obtained from pregnant cows during slaughter in slaughterhouses. FBS is widely used in cell culture due to its rich and complex mixture of growth factors, hormones, proteins, lipids, vitamins, and other nutrients that support the growth and viability of cultured cells. So, no animals being harmed in the process of producing this meat? False. And not to mention what trace amounts of this FBS is going to do to the human body. I didn't want to let her get away with just saying nutrients, vitamins, etc.
And after anywhere from 1 to 3 weeks, they produce meat that we can then harvest and formulate into any delicious product that you love.
Formulated? You mean molded in the shape of a chicken fillet? You can't call it chicken breast because it was never a body part of a full chicken. All you can call it is chicken flesh. By the way, chicken meat contains fat, anywhere from 9 to 20% depending on what part of the chicken it comes from. If this cultivation process does not produce enough fats in the meat, then they have to add it in the formulation process. Sometimes that may be plant-based fats, which is a recipe for disaster.
So gross, so gross.
What are the animal cells?
So gross.
The animal cells come from just what you said. Animals.
Yeah. So, good rest of the video. Go check it out if you're interested. We got this last guy before we call it a night. We got about 15 minutes. But we'll watch some of this video, talk about it, kind of wrap it up, and we'll call it a show. But still got about 15 minutes.
All right.
So let's see
BJ, can you see me? All right, here's Johnny. All right.
To get him to the right part.
That's right. Because this OBS studio is being glitches every time you fucking do something.
Oh, weak words.
This is not an 6-year free. Have but yeah, just a second. Things that are
Sorry, let me find where he actually shows the video. Thought it was right here, but apparently okay. Nope. Gotta find it. Man, I thought it was like right here. Okay, let me skip around a little bit more. Oh no, it's just glitching. Okay, never mind. This one is being angry.
But I am in a pickle.
Okay, let's just cut it off there. There was another thing that I wanted to talk about though when it came to GMOs, and I'm like, I forgot to pull up the thing, but let's just go ahead and kind of close out the show. We'll kind of talk here for 15 minutes or so.
I'll tell you, the shows have been going by so fast lately, haven't they? The topics have been really good. Shows have just been flying by.
Shut this off. Yeah, they do, don't they? Time flies when you're having fun, and we got a whole bunch of interesting topics coming up. We'll be talking about technology as a whole next week, and then we'll talk about CERN, and then follow that up with Antarctica. So those are all going to be great, fun topics to talk about.
Hey, did you watch the video that I sent you on the head transplant?
Didn't did you message it to me?
I want to. Yeah, I sent it in your text message. I want to see Marsha's head on Robert's body. That would be great.
Okay, I'm gonna try one thing.
Okay, Frankie.
I'm gonna have to jump over here for just a quick second. I'm trying to get my camera set up, but I think I have to close this. Come over here. Bring this up. Open this up. Turn on my camera. It's weird. It's like acting like it's never, like it didn't just use this camera.
Well, you know what? We are talking about GMO food and all this kind of stuff, but actually they've been tampering with our food for a very, very long time. Yeah. And so it's...
Everybody loves watermelon, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, seedless grapes.
Seedless grapes. Oh, cotton grapes.
Oh, I love cotton grapes.
Well, so
how dare you?
Some of
don't take away my cotton grapes.
So
they're so good.
Well, so there's and I'm not gonna I don't know every ins and outs of it all, but there is a difference between hybridization and GMO, right? So you can take two plants and breed them together and create a plant that has a smaller seed or that produces more leaves, right? So you can cross, you can cross certain genetics of plants that are able to mate together and get different things like we do with dogs, right? Like you can take two dogs, you can produce this, and then you can take that dog, that genetic, and produce it and kind of keep the exact traits that you want. So that's something different. That to me, that's not necessarily bad, because we've gotten a lot of good fruits, like a lot of our apples, again, not GMO, are because we mixed all these different apples together until we got these certain kinds. So.
Okay, but they should have a seed in it.
Correct. Yeah, no, totally. But you can like there are, and again, I don't know. I'm not going to say how far they can go on it. But it is easy to confuse hybridization with genetically modified or bioengineered. You can't hear me? I don't know if I was just light, if I was far away. What were you going to say, Robert?
I think that was before. I thought I could hear you. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sweet. So let's talk about some solutions here. So like I kind of already said, me and my wife started a garden box. It's one garden box. We have 2 bell pepper plants and a few carrots. And so that's not, that's nothing crazy, right? We're going to continue to learn and continue to grow more and more food. We do take, strides to like Marsha was talking about earlier, azorstandard.com. They sell tons of different products, vegetables, etc. We buy our wheat from them. We grind it up. We get that whole wheat. I make pancakes. She makes cookies. Way better than anything you can buy from the store. Way better in every
Not
way.
Even, it's got so many nutrients in it. Mm-hmm. You think about biblical times. That bread was everything.
Yeah.
And they had the good seed,
And we've kind of talked about it before, right? That man cannot live man cannot live from bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth from the mouth of God, right? So that's the spiritual aspect, but then it kind of indicates, well, yeah, man can sustain himself physically with bread alone, but not wholly spiritually without every word that proceedeth from the mouth of the Father. So very interesting. Very interesting. So getting. Oh, go ahead, Kyle.
Oh, I was just saying, bread only sustains you to the grave.
Yep, totally. And so, getting things like chickens, creating a garden box, starting growing stuff, all of these things will help. I believe Frankie brought it up earlier, and we kind of do this too. Go to your local farmers markets instead of getting your vegetables and all your stuff from the big box stores. Get it from the local farmers. That food is 100% more nutrient dense than anything you're going to get from a grocery store. Look into butchers, look into local farmers that grow livestock. And yeah, you may need to buy a fridge, a freezer. You may need to get some space in the freezer, but you buy a whole lamb, you buy a whole goat, you buy half a cow, side of a cow.
Yes,
you pack away that meat in the deep freezers. That meat, definitely, if you know the farmer, right, it was grass fed, that it was taken care of. And you can, really focus on your local community and giving them the business instead of these big box stores. And so
I found this. This lunch
real quickly. That's how we'll make a change is by local community. Go ahead, Frankie B.
Yeah, I found this lunch truck. It's a fruit truck. They make fruit salads for $5. The fruit is so fresh: mango, pineapple, watermelon, honeydew melon, cantaloupe. It's so good.
Do you know where it's grown?
I don't know where it's grown, but it's so good. It's better than that stuff you get from like the supermarket, like the fresh
totally. And
I think they ship them frozen and then they put them in the cooler because they don't last long and they sour. But this fruit that I get from this fruit truck, so good, and it's only $5 and they pack the bowl out. Oh my god, I get 2 meals out of it.
I would consider to Country Dad. I would consider grass fed as either on the pasture being grass fed or hay being produced. But then, of course, you have to know that your hay is coming from a organic farmer that's not spraying it with pesticides, etc. So it is like, there is effort that you have to put into consuming less and less toxic, food. And again, everyone here, I guarantee you, maybe not Maggie, has to, because we're in this world, has to consume these things at some point in time, right? Like, unless if, for instance, I made burgers for the 4th of July, all the burger meat, let's say it was organic and good, right? But what about the buns? I didn't make all the bread for the buns. What about the ketchup? What about the mustard? What about the mayonnaise, etc.?
Right.
So it is impossible to get away from it completely, but you can start making changes in your life to start, kind of moving it back into your control as opposed to just their control. And I think that's really, really important. And supporting farmers like Maggie's family. Maggie's family, they sell grain. So that's definitely if you're in the y'all are in Oklahoma, right? Or Missouri? Oklahoma. Yeah. So if y'all are in the Oklahoma area and you see Country Dad or one of the Country Fam on and you're interested in getting some some wheat, support locally, support those people, definitely within the Torah community if possible. So yes, both
Oklahoma, you should be able to get definitely grass-fed cow, like real good meat, man. I mean, you probably got farms
here in
everywhere.
Washington too. So
grass fed is grass fed depends on how are you going to get your cattle through the winter, because grass dies in the winter. So you've got to feed them something because they've got to have protein to survive.
Yeah.
So why most farmers feed cubes or grain, something that has protein in it to get the cattle through the winter. Most grass-fed cattle still are fed a percentage of grain because they still have to have enough protein to make it through the winter.
Exactly.
Totally.
You're right.
I think fresh cut meat is still better than better than what you're getting from the grocery store.
Oh, totally.
You know what I mean?
Just in the time.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like
Oh yeah.
when you buy that half and then you take it to the butcher and then you get it processed, you get it wrapped, right? And then you put it in the freezer. That's way better nutrients than the meat that they process at the factory, that they take they put it on an 18-wheeler to take it to the first processing. It processes it there. Then they send it to the distributor who processes it there and packages it. And then it goes on another 18-wheeler that then goes to the grocery store. So you're talking about days and week from when the animal's killed to when it's even on the shelf at the grocery store.
So now they have that freeze dry packaging, which is great. I mean, the vacuum sealed. I mean, that is so good. You get all your meat vacuum sealed and you freeze it.
What I got. It's cool. Yeah, that's what I have, a vacuum chamber. It's deep where I can. Anyway.
Nice. So yeah, there's so many different ways that you can go about in doing this. And again, no one's perfect. We all consume, these toxins. It's literally impossible to fully get away from. I guess unless you're like Amish, right? But then they still got the chemtrail spraying on your fields and
I was gonna say they drop it from the sky.
Yeah. But that's what. Lastly, I'd like to say is, I think it's important, regardless of what you're eating, to always pray over your food. Because I'm convinced that prayer and your seeking of the Father for that food to be nutrients to your body, for you to bless the hands that prepared that food all the way from the farms to your plates, does that spiritual desire in your heart definitely holds play, definitely is significant. Now, I'm not saying, God, please make me able to drink this gallon of bleach, right? Like, that's obviously preposterous, but that would be testing the Father. But
or you can drink glyphosate. Remember?
Yeah, it's totally safe, but you're not an idiot. Don't do it. I wonder what would happen if you got on and being made a health news report of how glyphosate is super healthy and that you should rub it on your body nightly and drink at least 2 glasses of it a day. If you would get in trouble for misinformation, or if they would let that happen, that's kind of interesting to think about. Okay, sweet. Well, let's call it a show. We'll go ahead and let everybody say their goodbyes, and then we will skedaddle. So up first is our returning sister, Maggie. If you'd like to say goodbye to the people, thanks for dropping by and giving us the knowledge you have as a farmer and a daughter of a farmer. So yeah.
Farmer's daughter.
Well, yeah.
She's a farmer too, though.
Thank you for having. I do.
Usually people have farms that the kids are in there working too.
And a very busy summer this year. So.
That's good news, though, right?
Thank you for having me. Oh yeah, wonderful.
Our pleasure as always. Sweet. Well, let's jump over to our sister Marsha.
Thanks for having me on again, Vader.
Our pleasure. Join anytime you want. We love you here.
See ya all later. And till next time, what's the subject?
We're talking about technology. So anywhere from Blue Beam Project to Slaughter Nanobots to 5G, anything that y'all want to talk about in technology, we're definitely going to be talking about next week. Let's jump over to Robert. What do you have for us, brother?
Got nothing. Good night, everyone. See you next week.
Sweet. Next up, Frankie B.
Shalom, everyone. Yeah, I was just thinking that you got that picture of the Vader in the suit with the helmet. I remember when we first started interacting, we got into some huge arguments. And I was like, this dude, he's crazy, man. But I loved engaging with you. And now look at us. We're like 3 years later. We're doing shows. We're close. We're like best friends. It's just great how y'all just moves. Good.
Unless we bring up one subject.
Here we go. And then again, there's Marsha.
Yeah, brother. Well, I always I love that you have stuck with it, even though we have the disagreements, and that lets me that shows your fruit. your fruits of the spirit, definitely. And so I have definitely enjoyed your presence and on all the streams, including tonight. So thanks for being here, and we'll now jump over to Kyle. Give us your thoughts, brother, and your goodbyes.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Great episode. Definitely makes me hungry. I want to go eat now for sure. But for real, yeah, I gotta go.
Where's the beef?
Yeah, I had more of an appetite about 2 hours ago. Kind of worn off.
Watching
But
that
yeah,
rubber.
yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, but we can, I guess we can all just be more cognizant and aware of what we put in our bodies. And we can choose to, I guess pay more to eat healthier in some circumstances. Sometimes it's not always like that, but everyone has some power within their own means to change the market and the world around them. If we don't buy certain products, they won't have the financial demand to keep producing them. But it's a lot of brainwashing and psychological warfare that we have to push through, and people are waking up, but it happens slowly.
Yep, change
Yeah.
slowly over time, and that's part of it, right? We weren't all ready for all this information when we tipped our toes into the conspiratorial world. But one thing that's important, definitely within scripture and beliefs, theology as well as conspiracy and history and all those things, is that we be humble, right? That we be willing to learn and say, "Hey, I was wrong then, and I now see," and just keep growing and keep getting bigger, closer to the truth, and that's why we're here. So sweet. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. I can't show you on camera, so I can't wave bye to you. But it was a super fun subject. Thank you for all the recent subscribers and helping the channel grow. Remember, things like comments, subs, likes, shares, all of that really does help the channel grow. And we're less than 800 away from 2,000. We'll be doing another giveaway. So please share it around so we can get there and more pieces of the puzzle for the table. So without any further ado, everybody, have a good night and a good week coming up. Check out the channel if you're interested in the reading of the Book of Enoch. We'll be doing part 5 tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern. I think I have to do that earlier tomorrow. So I may change that. I think it might have to actually be pretty early tomorrow. But you'll see that. I'll get it posted. But yeah, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. And until next time, remember that Abba loved you first. Good night, everybody.
Good night, all. Good night.
Hi, everyone.
Good night, everyone. Dig deep. Don't forget.
Dig. Here we go. Oh, it's not transitioning. It's being crazy. Oh. It's going crazy. Okay, will you work for me now?